All right, let's talk about a huge challenge in the world of AI. Modern AI, it doesn't just appear out of thin air. It's almost always built on the shoulders of giants. And for so many businesses out there, that giant is Oracle. So today, we are going to build the bridge. We're talking about connecting the raw, untamed power of your on-premise Oracle systems to the incredible agility of Google Cloud. So let's get this engine fired up. Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to start by really understanding the beast we're dealing with, that on-premise giant. Then, we'll dive into two key blueprints for building that bridge to the cloud, one that's all in on GCP, and a second, powerful hybrid model. We'll stack them up side by side so you can figure out what's right for you. And finally, we'll see how all this transforms that old legacy weight into some serious cloud agility.
This quote really nails it, doesn't it? It gets right to the heart of the whole thing. I mean, think about it. The most cutting-edge AI on the planet is basically useless if it doesn't have data. And for so many companies, the absolute richest, most valuable data they have is locked away inside that enterprise giant, Oracle.
So let's dig into the core challenge here. We're talking about these massive Oracle workloads. I mean, these things have been the high-performance heart of the business for, years? Decades? They're rock-solid, incredibly powerful, but they're often completely walled off from all the amazing innovation and flexibility you get in the cloud.
And just think about the sheer weight of these systems for a second. These aren't just some apps you can turn on and off. No way. They're the absolute central nervous system of the company. We're talking about Oracle e-business suite running all your financials, PeopleSoft handling HR, and it's all powered by these incredibly robust Oracle databases, often sitting on that hyper-optimized Exadata hardware. And that right there is really the million-dollar question, or maybe billion-dollar question, for every architect out there. How in the world do you build a bridge that's strong enough to connect this unbelievably performance-critical machinery to the cloud without the whole thing collapsing? Without sacrificing the very speed and reliability that made it so essential to begin with? Okay, so enough about the problem, right? Let's get into the solution. It's time to look at the actual architectural patterns that form this bridge, the ones that connect that raw Oracle power to the incredible ecosystem you find in Google Cloud.
Now, it's super important to understand this is not a one-size-fits-all kind of problem. So we're going to explore two very distinct, very proven blueprints. These are based on Google Cloud's own reference architectures, and each one is tailored for completely different needs, different priorities, and, different levels of investment. First up, let's talk about path number one. This is the all-in on GCP approach. From a management perspective, this is probably the most straightforward way to go. It's really designed for organizations that are ready to move their entire Oracle stack over to Google Cloud and create one single fully integrated cloud-native environment.
So, what are we talking about here? Well, this approach is usually called lift and shift, or you might hear the term rehosting. And the idea is actually pretty simple. You're essentially replicating your existing servers, but you're doing it on Google's super flexible compute engine virtual machines. The beauty of this is you keep all the control, you're still in the driver's seat, but now you get all the power of Google's cloud infrastructure underneath.
And the process itself is a really logical step-by-step build-out. First, you just provision the virtual machines you need in GCP. Simple enough. Next, you deploy your application tier, your e-business suite or whatever it is, on one set of those VMs, and then you deploy your Oracle database on another set. But the final step is absolutely crucial. You have to configure everything for high availability, using Google's regional architecture. That's what eliminates those scary single points of failure.
Okay, but what if that's not you? What if you've invested a ton of money in specialized hardware like Exadata? What if you absolutely need that extreme bare metal performance? Well, that's exactly where path number two comes into play. We call this one the hybrid powerhouse.
The whole philosophy here is just, why choose? Let's get the best of both worlds and make them fit together perfectly. The idea is you keep your database running on its purpose-built Exadata hardware for that insane power, while your actual applications run up in Google Cloud, giving you all the scalability and access to modern services you could want.
This is the true bridge architecture we've been talking about. So picture this. Your e-business suite or your PeopleSoft applications are all running happily on Compute Engine VMs. But instead of talking to a database that's also in GCP, they're reaching back to your on-premise Exadata system, and they're doing it through a totally secure, super high-speed pipe.
So what's the magic that makes this whole hybrid thing possible? Well, it's a service called Cloud Interconnect. Now, don't think of this like your standard internet connection. It's not that at all.
It's more like a private, dedicated, multi-lane fiber optic highway that runs directly between your data center and Google's network. It's built for two things: massive bandwidth, and this is the really critical part, incredibly low latency.
And you even have choices for how you build this private highway. Option 1 is a dedicated interconnect. That's a private, physical line that goes directly to Google. Or you can go with a partner interconnect, which lets you connect through one of Google's many trusted network service partners. Either way, you get that super reliable, low-latency link you need.
Okay, so now we've got two incredibly powerful blueprints on the table: the all-in on GCP model and the hybrid powerhouse. So, how do you decide which bridge you're supposed to build? Well, let's put them head-to-head and find out.
This right here lays out the trade-offs crystal clear. Look at path 1. Everything's unified. You manage it all in GCP, and the latency inside the cloud is really low. Now look at path 2. You get that extreme specialized database performance. But there's a catch. You're now dependent on that interconnect, and your operational management is split between two places. So the choice really starts to come into focus, right? Are you trying to optimize for total cloud agility and simplicity, or are you trying to maximize that massive investment you already made in Exadata?
And really, that brings us right back to the fundamental question that you and your team have to answer. What's the strategic goal? Is it to simplify operations, to have everything under one single cloud management umbrella, or is it to squeeze every last drop of performance out of that specialized database hardware while still getting all the amazing cloud benefits for your apps? Here's the great news, though. It doesn't really matter which path you choose. The end result is a complete, fundamental transformation. That heavyweight, monolithic system we started with, it's about to get a serious upgrade in its capabilities.
Because by building one of these bridges, that powerful Oracle system of yours literally transforms from being a legacy anchor holding you back into a supercharged engine that's powering your modern cloud strategy.
And just look at the payoff here. All of a sudden, all that incredibly rich data can be piped directly into things like BigQuery and Vertex AI. Your application tiers, they can now scale up and down on demand. You can wrap the entire thing in Google's top-notch security perimeter, and you get to do all of this without having to go through a super risky, incredibly expensive, full database re-architecture.
Look, bridging your legacy systems to a single cloud is a massive, game-changing step. But the grid? It doesn't stop there. In our final explainer in this series, we are going to tackle the next frontier, what we're calling the planetary mesh. We'll be talking about managing databases that literally span multiple clouds all at once. You are not going to want to miss that. So join us and stay enterprise ready.